Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news. And by God, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Absolute moves being made out of Manchester United, both in and out. Nothing is done yet, as they say, although we're pretty much done deal on a couple of moves. But we're going to talk about them all. Obviously, as you can see by the title of the video, Mason Greenwood is pretty much gone from Manchester United. We're very, very close now to here we go, or I think it's going to be probably another few days before we see him holding up a jersey. But we'll talk a little bit about that. News has been breaking today by David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has been very busy in relation to Manchester United. We've got a bid accepted by Lille for Lenny Yoro. Now, we know that Manchester United were in for him a few weeks ago, and then it all went a little bit quiet because Real Madrid supposedly had won the race. That seems to have changed a little bit. We'll talk about that as well. What does that then mean for Manchester United's pursuit of Jarrad Brandtwaite? Obviously, United went back in and had a bid rejected, a second bid, so we'll talk about that as well. And we do have an update from Fabrizio Romano as well around Joshua Zirkzee and the likelihood of him joining Manchester United. It's looking good, to be quite honest with you. And there's been slight updates as well on Manchester United's pursuit of Ugarte from PSG. It looks like that is getting closer also, so we'll talk all about that. And finally, a little bit about why Manchester United might be looking at a left-back this summer. Some, I suppose, news coming out today at why we're potentially looking at one. As always, guys, please do smash a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. We're 50 away from 10,000 subscribers. So if you are new and it's your first time tuning in, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and of course, jump into the chat and say hello and get your comments in. I'm going to be going through as many comments as I possibly can tonight. And we've got a brilliant match on as well on the TV here, leading 2-1 at the moment. The second half is just about to kick off. So stick with us for the next 45 minutes or so. We're going to be talking all things Manchester United and keeping you up to date on the Euros as well. As always, guys, I want to jump straight in and we'll talk about Mason Greenwood first and foremost. News has broken today that Marseille and Manchester United have agreed a deal for Mason Greenwood. Now, we do know that the likelihood of him leaving the club this summer was relatively high anyway. But the news was broken by The Athletic today. David Ornstein, he says, Marseille reached an agreement with Manchester United to sign Mason Greenwood. Proposed deal remains subject to the 22-year-old's approval, not yet in place. Price is 31.6 million euro, which is 27.6 plus 4 million add-ons, plus a large sale, a large share of a future sale. So if he's moved on in the future, Romano was speaking about him then a little bit later, and he said the contract offered by Marseille to Greenwood is valid until 2029. United will have a close sell-on clause close to 50% of future sales from June 2025 to June 2029. Done deal between the clubs. Salary details, including bonuses, are being discussed as we speak. Now, there has been other reports today suggested that Manchester United in the future can potentially buy additional sell-on percentages from Marseille. So if we've already got 50% of any future sell-on clauses for him, I think after 12 months, we can look at potentially paying for more percentages on top of that. And these are the kind of deals now that Manchester United and the new Manchester United are doing. Okay, you would have been hoping for about, maybe 40 million euro for Mason Greenwood. But the fact that we're getting such a large percentage of any sell-on clauses on it is really, really good business by Manchester United, you have to say. And protecting the asset in the future, even though he's not going to be playing for us ever again, you would say. So, really, really good business and smart business out of Manchester United, if you ask me. Look, Mason Greenwood is 22 years of age. The chances of him being sold on from Marseille in the future are quite high, you would say. If he spends 4 years at Marseille, he's still only 26. That's fast maths. He is still only 26 by the time you would sell him on. If he does well in France and he continues to improve, we know how good of a footballer he is, then you would think Manchester United are going to get a good sell-on fee down the line in the future. So it's really, really good business, in my opinion, by United. And It's a type of business now that I think we're going to have to get used to seeing professional, competent business out of Manchester United. And as fans over the last decade, we haven't been used to seeing that, haven't we not? And we know how much the transfer window and the whole market around players has, I suppose, accelerated over the last decade or so since Sir Alex Ferguson left. When you've got massive amounts of money and, you know, you have to pay big fees, and because of that, you're looking at these kind of deals where maybe you might have to pay in installments. You maybe add a sell-on clause, you know, to reap some extra benefits rather than getting it all in one lump sum. So I think it's a really, really good deal for United. And we're not going to get into any of the nonsense whether he should come back or not, because I think as a community here, I think we're all pretty... much in the same mindset when it comes to that. Let's see what you guys think about. Get your comments in, as always, guys. Let me know what you think about the deal. You know, the fact that it's going to be 31 million euro up front. You know, what are you thinking about? Let us know in the comments. We'll go through them. Let me see. Ben says that we are actually making moves in the transfer window early. It's great to see. And like I put up a TikTok today saying, are United actually acting professional? And, you know, the difference that we've seen in this transfer window for the first time in a decade. And a lot of people, now obviously these are opposition fans, saying, lad, what are you talking about? You still haven't signed anyone and you still haven't sold anyone. But the difference now is that Manchester United are negotiating for, you know, multiple players at the same time. And some of them players are playing in the same position. And I think that gives, you know, some real closure to United fans that, right, we are going to sign somebody, and all of the players we've been linked with seem to be good players, you know, young, hungry, up-and-coming, talented players. And it's great to see. It's refreshing to see. So if one doesn't fall through, you know, you've already got another one that you're halfway working on. You might be able to play one off of the other, which we'll get into a little bit in a moment as well. Chris says, jog on, son. Thank you and goodbye, Mason. Finn says, Yoro not ready for the Prem. Needs to eat a few more bags of spuds. Well, look, he's coming in at the right age if he does come to Manchester United. 18 years of age, and he's been touted as one of the, you know, the best young central defenders in the world. So we'll be getting a really, really good player if he does come. I think something must be wrong with my chair, because every few days I have to boost it up again. Either that or I'm shrinking. It's probably shrinking. Good deal for us, says Chris. Ben says, oh, sorry, we missed Dylan. If only nothing happened about Greenwood, imagine him and Garnacho and Highland. Oh, Christ, we would have some attack. We will have some attack anyway. Don't worry. You know, all good things come to those who wait. Ben says, a Greenwood deal is great for us. Give you extra funds and possible future funds. Absolutely agree with that. Reese says, great as he could genuinely, if he keeps progressing, could sell for 60 to 80 million. Exactly. So if you're talking about in 4 years' time, a 26-year-old Mason Greenwood goes for, you know, minimum 50 million, you would say, if he, you know, continues to play the way he's playing now. Absolutely. Yeah, you would be talking about getting a potential 25, 30 million in the future, which is fantastic. Dylan says, I'm very happy now that there might not be us going a whole window chasing someone like a De Jong. We can't get them. We'll just walk away. And that is what I like about the new lads Ineos. Yeah, well, it gives us a bit of stability, doesn't it? And we'll talk about centre-backs in a moment, because yeah, I've got a bit of a theory on what we're doing with Lenny Yoro, and I'll talk about it. But it's good the fact that we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, you know, and the likelihood of us panic buying then at the end of the transfer window, you know, is slim to none, which is good. And then that means we more than likely won't overpay. Now we'll get onto that in a minute as well with Brantwaite. Reece says he should choose United. I don't think he'll get game time at Madrid. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, it looks like, you know, if we go out and get somebody like a De Ligt, which is probably going to be a deal that we do over the summer, regardless of what other centre-backs come in, because he's a guy coming in with experience. I don't think Lenny Yoro comes in and you know, starts every single game next season. I think he probably is a squad player, a rotational player, given his age, with the, you know, the potential for him to be our number one centre-back in maybe 2 years' time, you know, and I think that's a good way to be. But also, given the amount of games that we're going to be playing next season, you know, we've got to the latter stages of the domestic cup competitions now for 2 years in a row under Ten Hag. We also have got the Europa League to play in. There's 2 extra games that we're going to be playing in that in the group stage. 2 extra games in the group stage alone. So there are going to be more and more games. So you could easily bring in a Lenny Yoro, a Brantwaite, and a De Ligt. Now, you would probably have to get rid of both Lindelof and Maguire. But I think between De Ligt, Yoro, Brantwaite, and Lisandro Martinez, I think all of them next season play a minimum of 25 games each. You know what I mean? And, before you say anything, that doesn't mean, that there's 100 games in the season. That means that you mix and match, and that, the fact that Manchester... Remember when United were good enough where you could take off players to rest them? When you go more than 1 goal up in a game. We could potentially do that again. You know what I mean? If we start scoring more goals. And then you can bring off, a De Ligt at 60 minutes and bring on, a Jared Brantwaite or whoever it may be. And everybody gets game time. Gaining weight and chair piston failing. I don't understand what that means. Sorry. Dylan says, Yoro would get more game time at United than Madrid, even if he's back up in both teams. We've rubbish backup players. Look at Real, their defence is stacked. Oh yeah, the chair. Sorry, I get it now. GoFundMe, Jack's new chair. We need depth. Just don't think Yoro is the depth we need. Well, look, I mean, getting one of the best young centre-backs in the world, I don't see how that can be a bad thing. I really don't. And I think he would. I agree with what Dylan said there. I think Yoro probably would get more game time at United than he would at Real Madrid. We'll get on to Yoro in a minute. I'm getting sidetracked here. Oshin is in as well. Good to see you, pal. And Finn says, get one of them chairs with a toilet built in. Who says I don't have one of them already? Let's move it on. Before we get too carried away, let's talk about Lenny Yoro, okay, while so many people are bringing them up in the comments. So, Fabrizio Romano said today, and it was breaking, was it in the Athletic as well, I think, maybe? But anyway, basically, Manchester United's formal bid worth over €50 million for Lenny Yoro has been accepted by Lille today. Lille are insisting with Yoro to accept Man United, as it's the best proposal on their table. Yoro has always given priority to Real Madrid, waiting for them to come back in. The decision is up to Lenny Yoro. Now, there's a couple of things to pick through here. And we will say it here as well. Romano also said Real Madrid see the Yoro as a similar deal to Camavinga with Rennes in 2021. Real are happy to wait until the deal is done at their conditions, or even happy to sign Yoro as a free agent in 2025. It's up to him whether he wants to wait for Real Madrid or not by joining Manchester United now. So, basically, he's got 1 year left on his contract, and Real Madrid do what Real Madrid do. The pulling power of the club alone basically means that they're quite comfortable with what they have offered. I think they have offered £17 million, I think, if I'm right in saying that. It's about €20 million, basically, is all Real Madrid are offering. Now, United are offering 50 million plus add-ons, which could get potentially close to 60 million euros. So we're offering triple what Real Madrid are offering. Now, you might say that is outlandish by Manchester United offering that kind of money. But what you also have to take into consideration is that Real Madrid are severely lowballing. They're severely lowballing Lille with this offer, completely lowballing them, because they know that they're going to lose him on a free next year. If he decides that Real Madrid is the only option that he wants, and he decides he wants to go there, Real Madrid are going... I think Real Madrid are comfortable with the fact that, maybe they've spoken with his representatives and they've said, to Real Madrid, he will not go to anyone else other than you. He'd like to come now, but... if not, he'll run down his contract and go free next year. But Manchester United are testing the waters here. And I think it's quite a smart play out of Manchester United for a number of different reasons. Okay, first and foremost, I'll go back to what I've said about him being up there with one of the best centre-backs, young centre-backs in the world at the moment. And we've seen down through the years, even going back as far as, Ferguson's time, missing out on players. I remember when we missed out on Benzema, and just knowing that this guy is going to be, one of the best strikers in the world for the next decade. And we missed out on Varane as well when he went to Real Madrid. This has the same kind of feeling in my book. And I think it's quite smart out of Manchester United. I think we would be getting a very, very good player at 50 million euro, at 18 years of age. Might seem like a lot, but think of the longevity you will get out of him. United are confident that they could improve him. I mean, even if you're getting a 4-year contract out of this guy or a 5-year deal, you're talking about 23 years of age he would be leaving if he decided he wanted to move on to Real Madrid then. And I think that's Manchester United's play here. They're going to Yoro going, look, come to us, you'll get more game time with us, improve, and, if you decide, in 3 or 4 years' time that you want Real Madrid, then we can move you on at that point, and you'll be 21, 22 years of age, and United could potentially get 70 or 80 million for him. Now, there's an alternative motive here, which I think might be at play by Manchester United, and we were speaking about it in the group chat earlier on. For anyone who hasn't done so, please join the WhatsApp group as well. Link is in the description of the video if you haven't joined it. It's open to everybody. Join the WhatsApp group. Basically, what I'm thinking here is that Manchester United are using this bid for Yoro as a way of getting Everton to lower their price on Jarrad Branthwaite. Okay? Now, hear me out for a minute. I think this is really, really clever, chess moves out of Manchester United, because basically what they're doing is, if the bid is accepted, which it has been for Yoro, and he decides, okay, I will go to Manchester United, United are saying, lovely, we've got an absolutely fantastic player here, and a young player for the future, longevity, all that kind of stuff, happy days. If if that drags on, and we're talking about the potential of going back in for Branthwaite, which by the looks of things, we are going to go in with a third deal. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Times are reporting that United are going to go back in for another go at him. Basically, what it's doing is it's saying to Everton, if ye don't lower your price from 70 million, we're going to go elsewhere. You're not going to dictate to us over the next, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of the transfer window, whether we're going to pay 70 million on. And the old Manchester United would have gone, they've gone in with 35 million for him in their first bid. Then it was 45 million. The old Manchester United would have gone, all right, come on, we'll give you 60 million. And then 2 weeks into the season, we'd go, oh, fuck it, here, sorry for annoying you for so long. Here's the 70 million that you wanted originally for him. That's not going to happen now. And I think United are using this bid for Yoro quite publicly to say to Everton, lower your price on Jarrad Branthwaite or we're gone. We're away from that table. And I think Everton have a big decision to make here, because you see the likes of, let's take Evan Ferguson last summer, for example. He was being quoted as being a potential 100 million euro player because of the great season he had. And now there's not an awful lot of interest in him because he had a poor season. So I think Everton are going to have to weigh up their options here. Now, I'm not saying that Jarrad Branthwaite is a one-season wonder. He may well be. You just never know. But I think Everton are going, will we get any more? Like, if Man United are offering us 50 million plus 10 in add-ons, let's say we reject that as Everton and he doesn't have a good season next year, are we ever going to get a valuation of that ever again? Probably not. So I think they've got a big decision to make, and I think United are playing this perfectly. I really do. I think we will get one of either of them, if I'm being quite honest with you. And there are people saying we should walk away from the deal, and Chris has said it there in the chat as well, and that's quite understandable. But you have to realise we're very, very early in this summer transfer window. Very little gets done while the European Championships are on. So I'm not in any way worried about the timescale at which we're working at. We're working on multiple players at the same time, which is great to see. I would be worried if we were only working on Yoro on his own. Then I would be going, oh, what are we doing? he wants to go to Real Madrid, move on, but we're also in for Brantwaite, we're also in for De Ligt. These are players that you would be happy to sign regardless of whether one of these deals goes through. So, yeah, I think I'm at ease with this, to be quite honest with you. I really, really am. But it just goes to show how, I suppose, how, I won't say desperate, but how much Manchester United are prioritising the centre-back, given the amount of centre-backs that we're actually looking at the moment. Let's see. Can Lille make him take the contract? No, they can't. They can't. He's well entitled just to run down his deal. And, Lille can accept the bid, but you have to agree personal terms with the player. That has nothing got to do with the club. Chris says he's projected as one of the best. When he develops, he will be ready to leave. He wants Madrid. Yes, but if you get 4 years out of a really, really good player, win some competitions in the meantime, and then make a profit on him in 4 years' time, and I know we're not a selling club, but we have sold players in the past. We've sold Ronaldo. These things happen. And if a player's hard to set on Real Madrid, why not get 4 years out of him if he's a really good player, and then use that interest to your advantage to make a profit on what you paid for. And you have to think about it as well. In 4 years' time, if transfer prices are going in, continue to go in the same direction, you could probably get 100 million for him in 4 years' time. You just never know. They can't make him. Fuck Real and their attitude. Well, look, they're winning Champions Leagues every fucking second year. So, they can afford to have an attitude like that. We can't. We just can't. We could back in the the 90s and the 2000s when we were winning things, but Real Madrid will always have that pull. It's always been the case, and it'll be there for a long time to come. Madrid treating them like we are treating Everton, says Chris. Oshin says, why are you saying that United will be happy to train someone up to sell him? Well, for the reasons that I said. As long as we're getting a good player and we're winning things in the process of him playing at Manchester United, then if he does want to leave, then why not take that and use it to your advantage? That's all I would say. That's a big bet that Madrid can afford to spend 70 to 80 million euro. Well, it might not be Madrid in 4 years' time. He might come to United and say, I love it here. I never want to leave. I'm not fucking leaving. Yep, a win-win, says number 7. Oshin says Madrid will tell him to run his contract down in 5 years' time. Again, La Liga as a league is bankrupt, which is why we were pushing for the Super League. Well, you would hope that with the, I suppose, structure we've got in place now with the likes of Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, these kind of guys that, the days of players running down their contracts at Manchester United will hopefully end. Now, it will always happen. It will always happen. But, you would hope it's not going to be as regular with competent people there than it is now. I do like the business Ineos are trying to conduct, attacking on many fronts. Ignacio is ready to go now. Bring him, can play left back and left centre back. I know Lille can't make him. Was it a fictitious question? Number 7 says the new appointment suits, i.e. Ashworth and co, are grand masters when it comes to playing transfer chess. And Rick says, let's have it right. We see every academy player we sell every academy player bar the odd one or two. Well, this would be more so. Well, look, the majority of academy players don't make it in the first team. That's just a fact. And that's the same at every club. You know what I mean? You've got academy players playing at Carlisle that are not good enough for Carlisle, like at Let Go, that drop further down the pyramid. That's just how things go. You know what I mean? But I think this would be a good signing if we could get him. Now, talking about signings. This is coming out from the Times about 10 minutes before we went live, that Manchester United are expected to return with a third bid for Jared Brantwaite. Now again, this goes back to what I've been saying about, are United using Lenny Yoro as a bargaining chip, or not a bargaining chip, but as a pawn in their game of chess to get Everton to lower their bid for, or to lower their price tag on Jared Brantwaite. Look, I've said before that I don't think, you know, more than 50 million is what we really should be doing. Now, I think the last bid we put in was it 40 million plus 10? I think, was it, or 45 million plus 5, something like that. I don't want us to go too high. You know, I really don't, because look, you're talking about Lenny Yoro as one of the best centre-backs potentially in the world in another few years. Now, that might not be the case. We all know that there are players that don't make the grade that they're set out to, you know, to make. Brantwaite certainly is. I don't think he's in the same bracket as Lenny Yoro, to be quite honest with you. He's a little bit older than him as well. And again, you do have to be a little bit concerned about the English tax, you know, or the British tax, whatever you want to say it is. I don't want us to go too much higher for Jared Brantwaite. 50 plus 10, you know, with that 10 being, you know, if we win the league, you get an extra 5. If we win the Champions League, you get an extra 5, which basically means we would be happy to pay it, you know. But there's a lot of storyline left to this centre back acquisition, you would say, whether that be Lenny Yoro, Jared Brantwaite. Reports coming out today suggesting that United are actually not really close with De Ligt deal, and that's coming out from Plettigol in Germany directly. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. Or you would hope, I won't say next few weeks, you would hope over the next few days in terms of centre-backs, because while we are, you know, progressing well for a number of different centre-backs, nothing is concrete. Jared Brantwaite is not concrete. Lenny Yoro is not concrete. And De Ligt, according to Plettigol today, is not concrete. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the coming days. But I have a feeling we're in for some big updates over the next maybe week or so when it comes to centre-backs. Watch this space. Why are you picking on Carlisle? I don't know. It just popped into my head, to be honest with you. Rick says Garnacho will go sooner than we all hope and want, but he will. Well, yeah, look, I mean, we know Garnacho has said in the past that Real Madrid, he loves Real Madrid. It's his boyhood club. It's the one he supported growing up. You know, so we probably will lose him if he continues his projection. You know, his projected improvement that he's had over the last couple of years, and yeah, we probably will lose him in his mid-20s as well, you know. But it's about finding that new player then to come in and take his place, you know, whether that be from the academy and that's what the likes of Wilcox, Barada, Ashworth, Vivell, these kind of lads are there to do. Arya says, what do you think about Rashford rumour to PSG? No major updates on that. I think it would be a very hard deal to do, given the fact that United want about £80 million for him, and he's on 300 plus grand a week at United. And he's from Manchester. So I don't think Rashford will go. I really, really don't. Should not be higher than Yoro, says Chris. 45 plus 5 should be final bid. Make the add-ons achievable. Still not a fan of paying 50 mil for a relatively unproven. I agree. Chris says if we pay 45 plus 5 should be top. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that as well. Mohammed says we need a better right wing. We should also start with that position, because if we sort that out, our attack is almost sorted. I do agree that we could improve that right-hand side, Mohammed. I don't think it's a priority. We mentioned this a few times, that, you know, we cannot go out and spend money on every area of the team this year. We haven't got the funds to do it. So I think we need to prioritise the centre of the team this transfer window. Centre-back, centre midfield and striker. And if we've still got money left over after you're happy with the improvements of that, then you can look at potentially right wing, maybe left back, right back, whatever the case may be. But I do agree with you that we need to improve that right-hand side over the next maybe 12 to 18 months. Finn says, don't want to pay over 50 million for Brantwaite. Price tag weighs heavy at United. Well, that's something that I did want to bring up, Finn, and I completely agree with you. The price tags have a huge part to play on the pressure of a player when he's changing clubs. And not just at Manchester United. It does weigh heavier at Manchester United because the scrutiny is there and it's a global brand and everybody talks about Manchester United, whether you like it or not. If you were looking at, let's take somebody like Dan James, for example, came in from relatively cheap, okay? Wasn't an awful lot of pressure on him because of his price tag. Now, if we'd have paid 80 million for Dan James, the fan base, the journalists, the media would have been all over us like a cheap suit and would have absolutely destroyed us, and pressure would have been on the likes of him. You look at the likes of Anthony and the pressure that is brought in. If Anthony was brought in for 30 million, there wouldn't be anywhere near the type of pressure that's on him and the type of scrutiny that's on him. Now, Anthony's a bit of a idiot, and I think that's why he gets a lot of it as well. But the price tag has an awful lot to do with the pressure that comes on a player. And I think if we're smart enough to bring in players like Brantwaite for less money, 40, 50 million, it will take a lot of the pressure off them in their opening season or two and give them that time to bed in. I really do think that. I really do. So I agree with you on that one, Finn. Chris says, Everton just trying to milk as much money as possible. Romano says the Lick deal is very close as of this morning. German press reacting to fans saying they want to keep him. Yeah, look, I mean, Plettigol obviously works for Sky in Germany. But, Romano saying it this morning, you would be taking his lead on it, absolutely. Arya says, Ugarte, going to get onto Ugarte in a moment. Can't lose Manu at any cost, says Finn. I don't think we would, to be quite honest with you. Let's see, seeing things about Rashford being off social media completely and putting a lot of effort into training. Yeah, he's gone off of social media, which is good to see, concentrating on pre-season. Ugarte, yeah, we're going to get on to Ugarte in a moment. What the hell is an Egypt? An Egypt is a dope or an idiot. Yeah, it's an Irish thing. Egypt, yeah. You're some Egypt, you are. So there you go. Yeah, every day's a school day. Finn says, if Grealish was at United, he'd have been ripped a new a-hole in the media week in, week out. Absolutely 100%. But he's gone into a team that's, that are serial winners. So the pressure is off, You look at the likes of Varane back in the 2000s, came in, done very little at Manchester United. Wasn't an awful lot of pressure on him because we were winning all the time and we paid massive money for him. So, yeah, I mean, if you're winning, you're winning, Mohammed says, if the guys we got in the background, we should be looking for an unproven talent that we can get for under 5 mil. Well, they're very hard to find. But the likes of Vivel, for example, coming in, supposedly is an expert at all of that, along with the likes of Jason Wilcox. So, yeah. I knew what it was, just wanted to see if you would explain it. All right, there we go. Right, moving it on. Xerxes, strikers, goals. Big update today from Fabrizio Romano in relation to Xerxes. This is pretty much done, in my opinion. Manchester United are ready to complete Joshua Xerxes in the next days. No issues. Contract will be valid until June 2029 after commission and salary agreed last week. Formal steps with Bologna to follow this week, whether it's release clause or different structure. So basically, United were debating whether to trigger his release clause, which is, I think, is it 42 million? Is that what it is, I think? Or basically offer more money for him, but paid in installments. And again, this is the type of negotiating that Manchester United have been missing for a decade. The Ed Woodwards of the world and the John Murtaghs and the Richard Arnolds and all these wouldn't have the brain cells to actually offer more money for a player than his actual release clause, just so we can pay it in installments rather than paying the lump sum release clause in one go. This is the type of negotiating that Manchester United have now got with the likes of Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, whoever else is doing the negotiating behind the scenes. And it's refreshing to see. I think the installments is probably a very smart way of doing things, because it means you're not forking over all of the money this summer, and it frees up more funds for United to go out and improve other areas of the squad while still getting a second striker in the door. It's really, really good business, and long may it continue at Manchester United. Long may it continue. But yeah, I mean, I don't see Joshua Zirkzee being an issue at all over the next few days. I mean, I'm speaking as if I'm Fabrizio Romano. The only thing I think would happen here is that if he failed a medical, for example, and the deal, fell apart that way. But other than that, he is going to be a Manchester United player in the next, week or so. We'll probably get the here we go from Fabrizio before maybe the start of next week, and he'll be holding up a jersey by the end of next week, I would presume, which is great, because, he'll be, by the looks of things, then he'll be in perfect timing, in for pre-season, and he'll be out on tour with us, which is absolutely exactly what we want to see and hear. And yeah, I mean, happy days. Let's see. Zirkzee jersey incoming, but won't jinx it. Yeah, I don't want to really jinx it either, but I do agree with you. Our new sideshow Bob, absolutely. Some Barnet on him. He has. Liverpool fans are Egypts. There we go. Great explanation of the word. Have we stopped putting the +1 into our contracts? I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. We will find out soon enough. We haven't signed anybody under the new regime yet, so we'll find out in the next couple of weeks whether that is still something we're going to be doing. And I do know it was a very Ed Woodward, John Murtagh, Richard Arnold kind of thing to do. I wasn't against it at all. I thought it was a good way of doing things, but we'll find out soon enough. Mohammed says, if we get him and Highland would grow beautifully under Van Nistelrooy. Yeah, Van Nistelrooy has been, I've seen a couple of clips, just people videoing him in the street. He is in Manchester. I think he's waiting on his visa just to be approved before United will, announce the official announcement will come for him and what's his name? Hake. Hake. Zest. Where the fuck did I get Zest out of? Anyway, don't mind the +1 if the wages are good, says Chris. Finn says, like Highland, Zirkzee is by no means the finished article. Is it risky, them two and Rashford, to fire us to top 4? I don't think so. I mean, if you're looking at what he done last season, I think he scored 16 goals last season, which is good, which is more than what Highland scored in the season before he joined United. And I think Highland did score 16 goals for us last season, so he improved. If Highland keeps his trajectory going, I think was it 11 the previous year he scored before he came to United, then 16 he scored last year for us. I mean, if Highland scores 20 plus goals next season, and Zirkzee can score 20 plus goals next season, and Rashford can score 20 plus goals next season, we're laughing. We really, really are. You would hope then the likes of, Garnacho can up his numbers to maybe anywhere between 15 and 20. Bruno Fernandes, for example, hasn't been scoring the same amount of goals as he did in, under previous managers. But I think that's more of a change of tactics and system by Erik ten Hag. But of course, he's always going to have goals in his system. So I think there would be goals in the team with the likes of Joshua Zirkzee coming in. And I'll go back to what I've said before. I think if you bring in an Ivan Toney, I think you do more damage to the likes of Highland. And you're going to have Highland for longer than you would have the likes of Toney. Obviously because he's younger, but I think because of the fact that he's a United fan as well and he loves the club, and, Ivan Toney, maybe that's the case with him as well, but I think having two young, hungry players who are battling with each other but can also play alongside each other, because Zirkzee is more of a link-up player, more than a kind of a number 9 sniffing out goals in the 6-yard box. And like Mohammed said there, getting the likes of Van Nistelrooy in to coach these young guys, I mean, happy days. Happy days. Bover says, bring back the 4-4-2. Well, Oshin will agree with you. Yeah, he does. He's already agreed with you on it. Visas, Brexit, the gift that keeps on giving. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any updates on Bruno? No, nothing. Reports suggesting that Saudi are going to test Manchester United's resolve with a bid this summer for him. But nothing other than that. Ivan Toney loves the nightclubs more. Well, there you go. I didn't hear anything about that. Couple of final little things to talk about, guys, in the next few minutes. Small updates on Ugarte. Now, Manchester United and PSG have become closer to an agreement in recent hours regarding Ugarte. Everything is not yet complete, but things are progressing positively. And that's coming out of Spain, I think. Santi J... That's coming out of Mercato. Yeah, it's coming out of Spain. So, look, I mean, United progressing nicely on this deal. PSG want to sell, United want to buy, and the player wants to sign for United. Ding, ding, ding. Happy days. Three ring-a-ding-dings, and all of a sudden he's holding up his shirt. I think the midfield is more of a... will have a more of a knock-on effect than any other position on the pitch. I think if Ugarte comes, I think you're automatically talking about Casemiro going. Are we going to move on Christian Eriksen now as well? You would hope Mason Mount can come in and maybe take over the role of Christian Eriksen and challenge... I won't say challenge, but rotate in and out with the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo. We know Kobbie Mainoo can play in the 10, we know he can play in the 8, and we know he can play in the 6. Now, he's probably more suited to the 8. We know Mason Mount can play in the 10 and the 8. He's probably more suited to the 8, maybe 10. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen enough of him because he's been injured. But all of a sudden, with Ugarte coming in, you're getting a bit of balance into your squad again. To be honest with you, if Casemiro goes and maybe Christian Eriksen goes, I don't think Scott McTominay leaves, to be honest with you. Now, he may do so if we sign a second central midfielder, but I don't think Scott McTominay leaves this summer, to be quite honest with you. The more I think about it, it's an awful lot of business to get done, to get another, if we're getting 2 centre-backs in, if we're getting a striker in, and we're getting a central midfielder in, it's an awful lot of business to get a second central midfielder in. Now, we do know that the reports linking us with João Neves, and United's interest in him remains, solid. And I would love for him to be signed. I really, really would. But it's an awful lot of business to get done. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But this Ugarte deal looks like it's edging closer. And it's one that I would be really happy with, if I'm being quite honest with you. Let me have a quick drink of water before we go through the comments. Smash a like on the video as well, guys. Do subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I said, I think we're less than 50 away now from 10,000 subscribers. If you're new, please do hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Couple of new subscribers I can see in the chat there as well. I think Rick is new. Mohammed is new. Good to see everybody jumping in and getting their opinions in, guys. If you are new as well, do subscribe. Let's see what you're saying here. Did you receive anything in the post, Jack? No. Here we go again. All right, okay. We'll wait and see. I'm sure you're not going to tell me what it is regardless. Romano was all Man United this morning. He certainly was. Reese says, when was the last time United was this close to signing this many players? Yes, I know, and this soon in the transfer window. I think that's the most enjoyable part of it. Ugarte is a game wrecker. Been watching him in the Copa America. Bring it on. I love seeing that. I bet Mount will play on the right wing a lot this year. Yeah, absolutely. He can play there as well, which is good. Finn says, don't know anything about Ugarte. Is he going well for Uruguay? Just like Chris said there. Get rid of McMuffin. We have Ineos. They actually work. Oshin says Eriksen needs to go. So does Casemiro. Game time will be cut and we need to clear the wages. I'd keep McSauce. Sorry, Chris, but he's a squad player. Impact sub. Yeah, I agree. I've said this before with McTominay. If he goes, we'll get some decent money for him. If he stays, I'm happy for him to stay as a squad player, you know. Don't forget Mason Mount, says Rick. Yeah, we were just speaking about him. Don't stop believing, says Chris. Yeah, look, I mean, Christian Eriksen came in on a free, and we would probably get a small transfer fee for him if he left. So it's a win-win all round. And he's past it as well. As much as I love him as a footballer and how silky smooth he is, physicality and pace, you know, you need to have that as a central midfielder in the Premier League, and it's just completely gone. I agree. Sounds like Scott, you will say, says Ben. There comes a time when legends need to go, says Oshin. Chris sent a glitter bomb, 100%. Yeah, there we go. Now, I want to just touch on one final story, and it's a story that has made me realise maybe why Manchester United are being linked with left-backs this summer already, when we've been saying for a long time that it's not really a priority, and it's down to this, I think. Malacia supposedly has yet to recover from his knee injury with no fixed timeline regarding his return. Okay, and this is a big concern. I won't lie. I've said before that you need to have competition in every single position on the pitch, and if you don't, players will get complacent, and none more so than Luke Shaw. I love Luke Shaw as a left back. He is up there with one of the best left backs in the world when he's on his game. He really, really is. However, we've seen him in the past take his foot off the gas when there's nobody there to challenge him, and this is a big concern. If Terrell Malacia cannot recover from this knee injury, we have to look at another left back. We have to bring in another left back. We really do. Now, could you bring in the likes of Harry Amas, you know, from the academy? He is up there, and he's going to be, if he continues his trajectory, he's going to be a fantastic player for Manchester United in the future. You know, he's got all the attributes to be a brilliant, brilliant left back. Is he ready to be United's backup now? I think he's probably a little bit too young. What age is he? Is he even 18? I don't think so. Let's have a quick look. Harry Amas, no, he's 17 years of age. He'll be 18 next March. Now, look, I'm, as you know, I am someone, you know, that is steadfast by the ruling. If you are good enough, you are old enough. And Harry Amas, if he's good enough yet to step into the first team, I don't know. He is still a little bit slight, a little bit, you know, he needs to eat a couple of fillet steaks and buff himself up. But that will come with time as he gets older. So, yeah, just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because, you know, Malacia now he's rolling up on 12 months being out now, and with no fixed timeline regarding his return, it's a big concern, that left-back area. It really, really is. Let's see. The kid is done and gone, says Chris. Please God, not Ben Chilwell. They can sit next to each other in the train. Yeah, I mean, Ben Chilwell, I wouldn't be big on that one now, to be quite honest with you. I really wouldn't. Oshin says, feel sorry for Malacia. 18 months out with a knee injury could be a retirement job. Yeah, I do feel for him because it's kind of weird saying he had the potential to be a great backup. You know what I mean? Now, no one wants to be a backup, but yeah, I mean, yeah. It is a shame. It is a shame. The Feyenoord guy looks real. Rude should know he coached him. Absolutely. And these are the kind of connections that you need to be bringing in when you're bringing in the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy into your squad as a coach. Absolutely fantastic. But guys, look, we're going to leave it there. I do appreciate everybody. Subscribe if you're new. Please subscribe. I want to hit that 10,000 subscriber mark before the start of the season. If we can do it, fantastic. We will be doing a live watch along for Manchester United in less than a week, which is unbelievable. Monday, it's Tuesday obviously today, we'll be doing a watch along for United's first pre-season game against Rotterdam. Is it Rotterdam? I think it's Rotterdam. Next Monday anyway at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening. Really looking forward to it. I will have been at the Liam Gallagher gig the night before, so I'll either be completely fresh and because I won't be drinking, or I'll be absolutely dying because I will be drinking. One or the other. So really looking forward to getting back into the United games. We'll do a match preview as well for it. I'm going to have it done by the end of the week. We'll get it up maybe on Saturday or Sunday, just so we're getting some content out over the weekend as well for you. We'll do a match preview on it as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button as well on your way out if you haven't done so already. Have a great evening, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.